Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Brick Creator Thursday Build and Chat. This week we have a special guest, and I'm sure you've seen him before. So let's bring him on in here. We have Matt, also known as Matticusbricks. What's going on?
Hey, what is up? It's so good to be chatting live with you again.
Yeah, I definitely. I appreciate you coming on here. I mean, it's been a while, and I feel like TikTok, when I was first getting into it, you were the first person I think I've ever live streamed with on there.
I think so. Man, I used to live stream on TikTok. That's been a minute.
That was, I think, how I discovered you, to be
Yeah.
honest, was on TikTok.
No way. I think I discovered you through your Instagram for sure. And I came across a lot of your memes and your funny stuff. I think you were wearing the Lego glasses. Actually, I probably have my pair of Lego glasses here.
I think the pair that we gave you, me and my son gave you at Brick Fair.
So, this is really, if I'm gonna join a Brick Creator stream,
I mean, I wasn't planning on putting these on, but the fact that you just brought them out, I'm glad I have mine at like an easy to reach location for myself.
I was like, I honestly, I was not sure how this was going to go because I was like, oh, I'm going to start the bit already and I'm going to reach and they're not going to be where I think they are, but they were. So I didn't have to scramble.
So first off, I do have to tell you so for everybody that knows, my son is, very big on creating content with me. And I thought that maybe I would have been his favorite content creator. But it's you.
No, it's me.
It's you. I mean, every time we would be at Brick Fair the past couple of years, he's like, "Where's Matt? Where's Matt?" So
that's so funny.
I mean, you take the reins with it, and I always appreciate how nice you are, with him when we're at the conventions there.
He's the coolest little dude, and I just only want to inspire the next generation.
Listen, it really gets him to want to make more videos, like seeing a younger generation, I should say, where it's like a cooler version of stuff I do. Because, I'm a dad that does it. So it's kind of corny the stuff I do on there.
But it's super cool that he has this to share with you because, you can be an influence on him and you can teach him the ways and show him this. Not everybody's dad does like Lego content. I found something else while I was in that drawer. So
my hands are hidden. Sure. I do have the Lego hands, but they're hidden somewhere in this room right now.
Man, we could have really been matching here. This is my look.
I love that.
I'm not going to be able to build with these though. Don't ask me to build with them on.
I need to have you wear these with the lightsaber with the actual Lego one. So
I saw your video that you did on that. It was awesome.
Perfect with that. All right, so what we do on here is I like to start off with a quick question, that I ask everybody that comes on here. And it's, first off, you've had a big 2023 in terms of Lego.
Yeah.
So what are the Lego goals for yourself in 2024? What's the plan for like conventions? What's the plan for your social media?
There's a ton of conventions. Definitely Brick World Chicago and Brick Fair Virginia. With many more, throughout there, stuff that's kind of still like in the works and not 100% planned yet. I launched the Enchanted Forest collaboration, which is probably my favorite thing that I've done recently. Last year, I did this big build for Virginia called the Enchanted Forest. It's all about these like fairy tale characters living in this forest with all this pretty foliage and trees and everything. And then some people really liked it. Some of my friends who are fellow builders, and we turned it into this collaboration where everybody's been building. 7 of us so far have each been building little or big structures, landscapes, trees, whatever, that all go into this fantasy forest theme. So we put it out at Atlanta BrickCon, and we're going to hopefully have it at some of the other conventions this year. So I want to keep building bigger for that.
Well, I hope it makes it to Brick World and Brick Fair, because I will be able to actually see it there. So, and my son would see it at Brick Fair. So,
yep, those are the two definitely on our list. We're looking at a couple of Brick Fan Expos, same company that does Atlanta BrickCon. So we're hoping that we're gonna continue with them and get them displayed there.
Now the Enchanted Forest is, I know that you kind of started, and I've seen, other, of the younger influencers that are, kind of getting involved in that, which I love that. Is this a thing where it's like, it's open to people that can create something in there, or are you kind of keeping it within?
Yeah, That's a great question. So we're still kind of deciding that for the first round, first little while, it's more, I don't want to say it's like invite only,
Okay.
but, a project among friends who've kind of started this. But my ultimate goal is to kind of expand and bring in other builders who are not necessarily content creators or on the influencer side at all, because there's a lot of really great talented builders
Yes.
out there, who a lot of them who inspired me to do this fantasy stuff, and I really want to bring in some of them at some point. So it's all just kind of, we're figuring out right now how to have a Lego collaboration, which that alone is the whole project. So I think once we start to get it even more off its feet,
I
we're
mean, I
really
think you
gonna.
guys are doing a great job with it.
Thank
So,
you.
I mean,
Thank
keep it up. I mean, I love the trees. I love the techniques that you use in it. And I mean, I know that you're trying to make more YouTube videos, and I feel
Yeah.
like that needs to be a tutorial out there for people.
Well, if you subscribe and give me a little bit of patience, turn on those notifications, sooner or later, you are going to see some stuff like that on this channel.
Well,
So
make sure if you're not already following him, that's his YouTube channel right there. So go ahead and check it out, and hopefully we'll see that in the future. So,
absolutely.
and then I just want to say hi to a couple people in the chat. What's going on to Brick Vice? Hey, Aubrey. We got Wiley Bricks, Sarah Smith, Brian Bricks is in here. And yes, I am going to be the biggest Star Wars out there. We got Let's Build Forever. What's going on? I think a lot of people that are in here are going to be at Brick World, which I feel like I know Bricks Cascade is the next convention, but I feel like Brick
when
World
is Cascade? Is it in April? March?
I feel like it's in March.
Oh,
People are talking about it like it's a couple weeks away. So
where is that one?
I'm not actually sure. I feel is that a Oregon one or
I won't be there.
yeah, it's too much money right now with all the conventions that are happening. So
there's too much to plan for. It's not gonna work. I have too much else going on. But maybe someday I'll make it out there. Well, Portland. Oh, that's the one that's in Portland.
Okay, so I was right. All right, Oregon. Or this was the Oregon. How do we say it?
Oregon. I usually say Oregon, but you know what's funny? It's Oregon if I'm talking about the state, but I usually will say the Oregon Trail. Like if I'm talking about like the how you get there. Ooh,
I feel like that game that was like my generation growing up, and like I love hearing that you're even talking about that, because I remember back in the early 90s, like probably 91, 92, well, maybe a little bit later, 93, 94, maybe, playing that in grade school.
I know. It's funny. I never played it. I know what the game is, but I was about to clarify, because, typically when I say like Oregon Trail, I would think of like the historical, like it was a trail that people took to Oregon, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yes.
I'm not confused about the name here.
That's where a lot of people died, which then they made the game inspired from it. So
yeah. Interesting. Wow. But yes, I don't know.
All right. So also everybody in the chat, if you have any questions, feel free to pop them in here. I know Matt would love to answer anything that you have in here. Also, I did pin in there a Google spreadsheet or Google Drive thing, so you can sign up if you want to be a part of the giveaway. Brian Bricks, you might have to be excluded because you win every single one of them. But again, everybody feel free to sign up to that. We have a couple things that we're going to do. All right, so we have Ubers take us to Oregon now. Wait, so you're in Oregon right now, Aubrey?
Don't engage. Don't acknowledge the Ubers. She won't stop.
Okay, all right. We'll let it be.
You had to be there. It's in Atlanta BrickCon.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's a.
Yep. Now, when you were in Atlanta, I noticed that you stopped at the what's the store that's in Atlanta? The big
Atlanta Brick Co.
Yes,
I was not there. I was
you
there.
Did not stop there.
I went to Atlanta Brick Co. when I went to Atlanta back in May of last year, just for fun, just to like see Mark Sandlin and Jillian and Aubrey and my friends down there.
I feel like that's a dangerous building to walk into.
Yeah. If you have a lot of free cash. Luckily, I had stuff that I was trading in. So I walked out of there not having spent as much as I could have. But yeah, it's really, they have a lot of stuff. But I actually, because I won the trivia. Oh no, that wasn't the trivia prize. Because I won an award at Atlanta BrickCon, they gave me a gift card for Atlanta BrickCon.
Is that also to be used online, or?
And I already used it because I didn't want to wait, and I found some things I wanted.
What did you get? Anything good? We'll wait to see a video.
No, it's not worth making a video on just because it's one of my silly things. So, I bought a bunch of. Are you a Lord of the Rings fan? You do any Lord of the Rings?
I actually do like Lord of the Rings.
So
it's not like Star Wars for me.
Got it. I did. So the Uruk-hai, the orcs. I bought a bunch of Uruk-hai because I am slowly building an Uruk-hai army. I think I have.
I saw you use some from series. Is it 24?
Oh, with the orcs.
Yeah. Did you? I saw you got a couple of those too to add to it.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
Are you not going to cross them in?
No, I have a bunch of those. To me, that's like a separate orc horde. They're green. I don't know if they work with Lord of the Rings. They might be just like a general, like if I do other like the Enchanted Forest, maybe if there's an orc raid at some point or an orc camp, that's where they'll come into place. But no, I do have just through like sheer luck and finding things and having some. I have about 25 to 30 of the actual Uruk-hai from Lord of the Rings. So I think I bought 6 of them from Atlanta Brick.
Oh wow!
Which was about my $100 gift card.
Well, that's how Aubrey's saying you're making a running for the number 3 Lord of the Rings fan.
Who are 1 and 2?
I know Aubrey was up there. I might have been 2. We might have put her because I can't be 1 in Lord of the Rings and Star Wars. All right, Brian's got a question for you, so let's pull this up here. And this is another good part about using Restream. You can pop up all the questions in there. So, do you recall the Lego set that hooked you into building Lego?
Yep. So for me, it goes right back to Fright Nights, 1997. First theme that got me into Lego. It was Castle, the Will of the Witch, Basil the Bat Lord, all the Fright Nights and whatever. So it was the Witch's Magic Manor, which was not the largest set, but the second largest set in the theme. You could build this thing where like you raised the rock gate and then you drop it on your enemies. Will of the Witch had this like wacky flying machine. There was like a door that spun around with a skeleton and a fireplace. So yeah, that just like was all right up my alley. And I got that as a gift early on. So that was like really one of like the first.
Was that a gift that you asked for, or somebody just gifted it to you and then all of a sudden you were just hooked into?
So we actually, when I was probably 4 or 5, I had to have been maybe just about to turn 5. We went to the Lego store in Disney World, Disney Springs, and I got the minifigure pack, the battle pack from Fright Nights. And I thought that was super cool. And I got like a basic building set, and that was what got me into Lego. But I think it might have been like the following Christmas because they knew I liked that whole thing, Fright Nights. My parents just picked it for me because I wasn't at that point. It's different, I think, for kids today because they have phones or they can go on the internet and they can see like these are the Lego sets that are out there, or they see it.
I mean, they see people like you posting stuff that's coming out too.
Exactly.
So.
I didn't have a Matticusbricks to follow on my mom's phone as a kid, so my Matticusbricks was the little pamphlet that came in the set, like that showed you like the sets that were available. So the interesting thing about that is that they sometimes would have sets that had been retired in there or just were not as hard to find. So I would see some of the older castle sets in there, like the Royal Knights and the Dark Forest. And I always thought those were super cool, but they were like long gone by the time I was collecting Lego as a kid. So.
And here you're talking about sets that I have. So.
I have them now. Yeah, so I have them now. But
that was a question I wanted to ask. Like, what made you want to jump back to get like things from my generation that like really got you into that type of themes and like the back end stuff that
Yeah. So
I feel like kids, not to call you a kid, but younger gentlemen, scholars as yourself, I feel like we're more Bionicle era.
I didn't like Bionicle. To me, it was weird. It was like, this is like, if I wanted to play with that, I'd get an action figure. And I liked action figures. Yeah. Like I had some of them, but it was like, to me, it wasn't Lego enough. So I had a couple Bionicles. I just never really got into it. I never watched the movies or got into the lore. I liked castles. For me, it was like castle magic. Give me all the I was like Brad, but like, I would like to say that Brad is like my friend because like he is what I was as a kid.
Okay.
But like I said, I was looking through like those old pamphlets, and there were those older castle sets, and they had Knight's Kingdom, and I had all those, and those were cool. And then the Knight's Kingdom 2 was like, I called them the Jelly Bean Knights because they were all like the weird colors, and I don't know, I got it because it was there.
I feel like that was the castles that you guys would get that like kind of missed out on like the classic like actions of the castle theme.
I had some hand-me-down old, like the King's Mountain Fortress and some Forestman sets from a cousin, which I thought were super cool, but I wanted more of that stuff. So I was always on the internet, like searching up old, with my big Lego hands, searching up old Lego themes, and I went on like the Classic Castle website. Bricklink was awesome. So as a kid, like I was just such a nerd for it that I always knew those older sets were there. And I didn't always have the adult money that it would take to get those sets. I had a couple, but as I got older, I was just like, yeah, this is like the Royal Knight's Castle that's built over there was like a big white whale for me for
and
years.
I noticed you buy them with the boxes, so I'm jealous because like
possible, you know, I'd rather have the
box. And that was like when it was amazing. Like you flip the box open when you went to the Lego, you know, it was Toys R Us for me because they didn't have Lego stores back then.
Yep.
And you were flipping it up and you saw all the minifigs that were in it. I mean, special rare parts that they would put in there.
Yep. And it's like I have memories of being a kid and looking at those in the toy store, and really like the one that I mentioned, the Witch's Magic Manor, is really one of the only ones I can remember actually getting. Because I feel like by the time I started to get more like big Lego sets, like the King Leo's castle from the Knight's Kingdom, and then from then on, they had pretty much phased out the flaps at that point. So by the time I was like, you know, 7 to 10, like they didn't have the flaps anymore. So, you know,
I think my point of when I was getting out of Lego was like Time Cruisers. And I know that you got a couple Time Cruiser sets too that you
I have one. I only have one.
Okay.
And it's I don't have the box for it, but it's the Flying to the Time Machine, which is really cool and weird, and
it was like a weird theme because it was like I didn't know what it was, but like the same time you would get all these parts from all the other themes, so it made it like a very like good set to get, you know, back then.
Yeah, they're the most insane sets probably that have ever been made, but they're really cool. Should we move on to the next question?
Yeah, I got a question here from Aubrey pulled up. So you can only keep one theme, Fabuland or Castle.
How about I
removed?
How about I remove you, Aubrey, for asking that question?
Ooh, wow.
The gloves are coming off. Yeah, because I can't anymore. No, I'd probably have to keep Castle just because like I have a lot of Castle sets, and there's like Castle was more influential on me. Fabuland I like now because I think the little.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know about Fabuland until you and like a couple other, you know, of the land people started posting shirts with it. I was like, what the heck, Fabuland? That I had to like look into that.
It's so cute. Unfortunately, I would have to say goodbye to my Fabby friends, just to keep Castle. But you know, it's you know, it's a tough choice.
All right, so Sarah wants to know: do you think Lego should include Lego light kits?
That's something that's been like brought up before, and I don't know. I think if they could figure out a way to do it without like taking away from like other types of production, I just think it's such a level of business that they, you know, they don't have as much experience with. And I know that they were looking into it, and I don't really know any details about what the outcome was there. But
I mean, they should definitely look into it. But I'm gonna plug this: if you're looking for a light kit, you could get 25% off on Game of Bricks right here. So feel free to look at any of that.
There's a lot of really great lighting kit companies out there, you know, that would kind of be put out of business. And I know a lot of influencers like do partnerships with them. So it's a big question. I think if they could figure out a way to do it, make it efficiently, it'd be cool. I think it would save people a lot of effort, but I don't know. I don't think it's necessary.
All right, so I'm going to pull in the build cams for a second. This way we can kind of talk about, because this is also a build and chat. So I'm going to pull in your camera here. And what are you actually going to be building tonight?
Hopefully, I'm going to be building the upscaled minifigure.
And let's pull that on there. And then for me, I'm going to be doing a Speed Champs.
Very cool. Which one is that?
This is the Audi S1 e-tron.
Gotcha. See, I don't really
I feel
know
like for the
anything about
cost
cars.
of these, like it's a great value with them. However, the only thing that I'm not sold on is the McLaren. When they built that one, like the McLaren race car and everything, you built the body. This one, like this series, they've been giving you this pre-built. And I know that they did this in a couple other
Yeah.
Speed Champions, but I do like when you get to build the actual body of it as opposed to just building it on like this feels like a city set when you're building it with these.
I can hear you there. I mean, City has consistently and much more recently felt much more kid friendly because that's primarily, I guess, who's buying it. You know, they do a lot of those like pre-molded.
I don't know because like so when they switched to the 8 wide, it made me not want it as much though for a city build because it didn't match with the roads.
It take up more space.
And then also in terms of the like the modular buildings, it doesn't fit to scale right. The 6 wide was just perfect.
I hear you. I don't even have roads in my city yet, to be honest. I've converted to mills, and I know we've had this conversation, but I just haven't really started making my roads yet because that's a ton of pieces and time.
So what I would suggest in making roads is if you do use the road plates, don't build them on a 32 by 32 base plate. Like I built mine on a 32 by 32 base plate.
Yeah.
If I would redo it, I would crop it that I would add a 16 by 32, but put it on half of it so that the other half of that base plate would be sidewalk. And then you could plate build to get like the other part to connect to your, mill system.
Okay. All right. I think I know what you're going. So you'd make it wider, basically.
Actually.
Smaller.
Yeah, smaller. So it doesn't take up as much space. Because, I mean, I feel like the roads, like, why take up 32, a foot basically of real estate when you don't have to?
Oh, I see what you're saying. So just use the existing sidewalks.
You use the existing, but I added an extra 6 studs to the sidewalk. So what I really ended up doing, I cut 8. Like I cut my base plates. I know.
Oh yeah, see, I'm not doing that.
But I ended up cutting 8 studs off the base plate, and then it was able to sit perfectly on that, and still left me an extra 8 studs to do that. So
Aubrey is saying 16s are the way to go. So just do like the half size.
Yeah. Well, that's the road plate is a 16.
Right. And then you can connect that directly in. That makes a lot more sense. That's not going to take up as much space.
No. And this way it gives you more room for buildings, and you'll mock some stuff in there too.
Aubrey, you're a genius. The only thing is you have to buy a lot of the 16. You have to buy a lot of those.
A lot of the road plates, yeah. And I mean, for $20 a pop, they start adding up because each one gives you basically 2 modulars worth of road plates because they give you 4 16 by 16 plates.
How do you connect them though to your mills though? How would you get the Technic pin?
So I extend the road a little bit and it connects in with my road plate so that extension piece is basically being connected into the mills plate. I use the illegal technique where you take the Technic pin and then put a 1 by whatever stud in it and turn it sideways.
Okay.
And then this way it goes into the Technic pin as well.
You also use the very illegal technique where you take an X-Acto knife to your Lego.
Listen, for $5.99 a base plate, I think it's worth it to do that and cut it a little bit. And especially like the pro tip for people on Amazon, they always have a sale where it's $5.99 for the base plate and Target matches the price. So as long as you screenshot it, you can go to Target and just get them there, and I would always, every time I would buy Lego at Target, I'd add 1 base plate and get them to match the price.
And I guess nobody's going to see it.
Yeah, nobody's sees it, and
you're gonna know.
You're building on top of it with a mill system, so nobody would ever see that.
Yeah, I feel like the Lego police would somehow break down my window.
And no, bigger is not always better. I agree, Aubrey.
Wise words, Aubrey.
All right, so I'm curious on. I ask everybody this question, so I'm curious what you're gonna say on this,
Mm.
and it's pretty simple. I
Okay.
just want to know top 5 Lego themes.
Ooh, all right. Okay, clarification. Is it of all time, just now, like that's available now? What are
You
my
know what?
parameters?
Nobody's ever asked that, and
Yeah,
I like
so
to offer it to all time actually for you because I know that you'll go back and kind of pull some in there.
one thing you should know about me, Evan, is that I am an overthinker. So if you give me anything, I'm gonna ask you for like parameters and just give me my guidelines because
Listen, you're asking the good questions with it. The follow up to the question. I love that.
Yeah. So all right. So probably this is no particular order. Um, I gotta say Castle. Castle's in there because I just grew up with Castle.
Now to
Big
just
thing for
break
me.
it real quick into the sub question because you questioned me. What
Yeah, I know what you're gonna
castle
ask.
theme?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to sub. So my favorite Castle theme is Dragon Masters.
Okay.
Um, it's weird. I kind of arrived there after like kind of back and forth between a lot of different ones. I love Forestman, obviously. I think Royal Knights is a strong contender. I'm big into
Okay.
the 90s themes. Like the 90s, like
Yeah.
the system era for me is more so than like the 80s Lego. Um, so yeah, that one's up there. I almost feel like I have to. No, I'm sorry. I can't properly answer your question, Evan. I'm derailing
Listen,
your.
I just had to ask it.
I'm
I knew there's no right answer. So
I'm derailing this because I'm going to give you a top 5 90s themes, and then I'm probably going to give you a top 5 like not
I
90s
love
themes.
that. I love that.
So my top 5 90s themes are definitely going to be Dragon Masters, Fright Nights, Ice Planet 2002.
Oh,
I love that theme.
Ice Planet. Just because I have this real quick in proximity.
Yeah. Oh, mine's over there. I'm not gonna grab it, but yeah, mine is. I'm looking at it right now. I love that.
I'm impressed that you have that.
Well, now I have to show you. So I actually.
It's like you were meant to be part of my generation.
Yeah, I think I was in many ways.
That's perfect, man. I love that you have that.
I'm, not to like brag or anything, but I like 80s movies and music and stuff. So, I'm more old school in some ways. I like to say I'm kind of an old school, but I listen lately. I listen to mostly like 70s, 80s music. It's my Fabuland figure's falling off.
Yeah, it's not as sturdy. I feel like as the regular minifigs.
No. Well, this one that their hips get a little loose, which is part of a joke that I made with Nicole. So if she's listening.
Aubrey, whose generation are we asking?
Which generation are you?
I'm part of the Zennials, like the Gen X crossing into millennial.
I was gonna say I was thinking like Zillennial. I was gonna say I'm sorry, dude. You're not a Zillennial. That's a bit younger. I think I'm straight up millennial. I think.
Okay.
I think I'm because I'm 94, so that might be one of the last years for millennials.
I'm not sure when I don't consider myself a millennial, even though like 84 is considered millennial.
Yeah.
Because I grew up like with my sisters were like in the 70s, and I was the youngest. So I grew up like with the Gen X, I feel like more than I did with millennials.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So
yeah.
All right, so we got your castle and the Fright Night.
Yes, so I'm sorry. So we're
tangenting. I love it.
We're tangenting bad. My top 5 90s themes. So we got Ice Planet 2002, Dragon Masters, Fright Nights, probably Aquazone. Man, and then do I choose? Oh, Paradisa, definitely Paradisa.
So I have a ton of Paradisa sets that are all put away, and also the fact that you mentioned Aquazone. I have all the pieces. That is the only theme for some reason that I haven't been able to like get myself to rebuild, going through all my old parts.
Mm-hmm. That's because I feel like everybody had them. They were everywhere.
Yes.
Back in the 90s. They must have been super big. What's funny is I love, and I don't know if you noticed this, like I especially love watching older movies, like 80s, 90s movies, and I always am on like Lego Watch to see like what's gonna be in them. And I was watching the Robin Williams movie, Jack, where he plays like he's
Great movie, The 10-Year-Old.
right. He's like a big kid, but he's Robin Williams. He has a couple of Aquazone sets, or at least one of like the subs in that movie, and it's like in his room, and you can see it.
That's like a great catch of a movie
was-
with Lego there.
I remember watching it like one time, and I was like, oh, I was literally like the Leonardo DiCaprio meme where it's like, oh, like that's that. There is also the movie Sleepless in Seattle, where Tom Hanks, his son,
Jonah's the son. Sorry, I'm a movie person, so I can tell you everybody in there.
Yeah, I couldn't remember the son. Yeah, so Jonah, he has, I believe it's a Black Seas Barracuda.
Wow. Okay.
In his bedroom. It's a pirate ship. I'm pretty sure it's the Black Seas Barracuda. That's one where it's kind of like you really gotta like pause at the right moment, and it's like kind of in shot.
I'm surprised I didn't know that with that, because that's my favorite all-time set.
Oh,
if I have one. So
it's a great
all
set.
right. So now that we know your 5 from the classics, we'll say, what are the 5 currently that you have?
Yeah. So we'll do. And then I'm tangenting. I'm going to tangent you again after this. I'm sorry, because I thought of another category. So 5 current themes available are Animal Crossing. Can I say Lord of the Rings? Is that really, can that count as a theme yet? Yeah, I guess we'll say Lord of the Rings.
Theme. It's got its own subset on Lego's website.
Lord of the Rings, Animal Crossing, Disney. Disney's been doing a lot of really good stuff lately. And then we'll say icons and ideas.
Okay. I like it.
A lot going on. So the tangent for you is that I'm also going to give you my top 5 like 2000s themes, like my childhood. I'll give you like, other than like the retro stuff that I was able to get, this is what my childhood was like. And
this is right. You're going to now say everything that was in my dark ages. Like this is the turn of when I stopped doing Lego was around like 99.
Name your favorite theme. Matt somehow names them all. Well, that's like me, because I can't just give you a simple answer. I have to sneak it all in there, because like I have thought about then, okay, here's my favorite overall themes, and then like Fabuland gets in there somehow, but Fabuland is in its own tier. Okay. Favorite early 2000s themes, no particular order. Knight's Kingdom, the original. Alpha Team, Orient Expedition. Are there even enough to give you? Trying to think like an off the wall theme that they had. Maybe the original Harry Potter, like Sorcerer's Stone Chamber Secrets.
When they were yellow.
When they were yellow. The OG Harry Potter had some really great details. And then you know what? I didn't have any of these, but I always thought they were cool. So I'm going to say Belleville, specifically the fairy tale Belleville themes.
And obviously you had to get Aubrey's Sig Fig.
Yes. So with the Belleville, it was always one of those things where like I used to see them in the catalogs, and I was obviously a castle builder, and I was like, oh my God, these sets have so many cool parts, but like I can't ask my parents for Belleville sets. Like, you know, even if I explain like I really just want like these for the parts, they'd be like, well, that's silly. I'm not going to buy you like a $20 or $30 set so that you can take like 10 pieces out of it. But it was just like, you know, weird, inaccessible.
I didn't even know about that theme, to be honest, until I saw Aubrey like posting that. So
wasn't super popular in the States.
I just don't know if it maybe like, because they used to, I guess, advertise more towards boys, I guess, back then.
Yep.
And maybe that just was one that just got missed in it. So
there were like, when I watched like Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon, I used to see Lego commercials. I used to see Bionicle commercials. I don't really ever recall seeing a Belleville commercial. I just knew about them because I used to get the catalogs at home. And now,
if you don't know it, you got to go check out Aubrey. So
you do. But also, yeah, Belleville's 90s, then 2000s. Also, if you want Belleville Lego, good luck, because you can't find it anywhere.
So how much was the minifig that you ended up getting, or the mini doll, I should say?
So yeah, see, not very expensive, couple bucks.
Okay.
$3 to $5, I can't remember. It all depends. See, like that one was from one of like the 90s, like I guess like house themes, but Aubrey added some of like the witch accessories to make her into a witch. So I was able to track that stuff down. It's more about just like some of them, it's not as much about how much it's worth as it is like how hard it is to actually find it. The fairy tale themes in particular are a little bit more valuable. Like you want to get like some of like the cool witches or like the kings, the queen, like they had some pretty neat accessories and stuff. They can run you a little bit more, 10, 15, 20 bucks.
And Aubrey, you definitely ruined the market with the doll, especially with the Taylor Swift album covers.
Oh my god, that's the fun, like probably my favorite thing anybody's done this year.
That wasn't on my bingo card for 2024, but I'm glad it is something that's been created.
That was on your bingo card?
No, I'm saying it wasn't.
Oh, it was.
But I'm glad it was created.
Yeah, that's funny. I thought you said, yeah, that was on my bingo card. I'm like, sure.
Could you imagine if that was?
Yeah, I wouldn't believe it.
And Brian, I like to shout out there, guys. Make sure to hit the like button on the live stream. I'd appreciate that. And hit the like button on Matt's page too. If you're on Matt's, and if you're on mine, hit it on mine. But go to Matt's and hit it as well. So
I feel like I did something wrong.
And back to it, and got to find your YouTube QR code. Got all the QR codes for you. So. All right, so I learned that while I'm building on live streams, because I'm building like a more advanced set, I feel like this is my first one doing in a while, and it's not even that advanced, but brickheads are the way to go when you're building on a live stream.
Yeah, absolutely. Doing something like I'm doing that has Technic, not the way to go. I don't know how I messed this up. The gears aren't working.
And that's the body that you're working on.
Yeah. So these Technic, they're supposed to spin. My build cam is not great. I'm gonna like raise this just a bit, maybe. That might be better.
I think it's pretty good.
Okay.
I think you got great lighting with it too, so that always helps out with it.
I do like my lighting. I'm pretty lucky with that.
So I need to figure out lighting in my basement. So that's something that's an issue down in my basement right now.
I bought like these sort of like LED panels, and they work pretty well for me.
Okay. I just have a bunch of ring lights. You know, here's one that, you know, for example, that I just wing in here.
Oh, nice. The ring light's good. I have a ring light, but you need a little bit more, I think.
Yeah, I would 100% agree with that. So,
question for you, because you've built this set.
Yes.
Can you move the arms?
Yes.
They're not stationary?
They are not stationary. So,
were you able to move these things?
Big screen, so everything here is movable. You can move the legs, you can move the arms.
Oh,
the head will turn.
Okay, I can do it. It's just really hard now that I've added.
I think once you like build more of it, maybe it like it. You know how like Technic, I feel like when you're like in the process of building it, it feels like you're doing something wrong, but then as you like get more into it, somehow it always comes together.
Yeah, like this can't possibly be right, and yet it was right.
I felt like when I was building the roller coasters, that happened.
Oh my gosh! So, do you have both roller coasters?
I do have both.
Okay, so you tell me if I made a dumb decision.
Okay.
I purchased the loop roller coaster when it was on, like, it wasn't on sale, but you got like extra VIP points.
$100, like
something crazy like
VIP.
that.
Okay.
I bought it, and I was second guessing whether that was a good financial decision, like right before Christmas and everything. This wasn't this past fall. I think it was the year before. And I second guessed it. I had it sitting there. I was like, this takes up a lot of space. Do I have room for it? And I returned it because I was like, I'm not gonna, I want to collect other things. So, but I sometimes think like that's a really cool, unique set. Like, should I have kept it?
I will be honest with you. You did the right thing.
Okay, good.
So in terms of building it, it was fun. And, I did enjoy it, but...
Do you ever play with it?
Yeah, my kids play with it all the time, but the problem is like the space of it.
It takes up a lot of room, huh?
It takes up so much room, and I don't do an amusement park anymore. Like I used to do a big amusement park, and now all the sets that I had in my amusement park are just hanging around, not doing anything, just on the wall being displayed. And I have all the power functions for it. It's just it's so much space and real estate.
Yep, that's the thing with Lego. Money is obviously a big like stumbling block, I guess you could say. Like it's a big issue, but like space is just as much of a problem. Like you could have all the money in the world, but if you're dealing with a small space,
and Aubrey said it perfectly. If it doesn't bring you joy, you don't need it.
And that's the thing. I was like, I wanted to build it, but I was like, I know that I'll probably just build this thing, play with it a bit, and then it's just going to be like something else that I have to find room for. So
I think you made the right. So when you were buying that, they had the Hogwarts Express, the I guess the bigger version that allowed you to get the $100 off as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up purchasing that, and it's still in the box.
I saw that set at the store, and I was like, it is really cool. And like, I like Harry Potter and everything. I don't do Harry Potter content anymore.
Okay.
For like social reasons. I don't know. I don't want to make anybody uncomfortable. That's kind of how I feel about my content. And I just know that it's a little bit of a bad taste in some people's mouths for whatever reason.
I got you.
Because of the type of person that the author is. So, it's like, I don't touch it for that reason. And also like they've gotten to the point where there's just so many.
It's Star Wars. It became the Star Wars theme to me.
It's the new Star Wars. And it's like everything that they have is going to be remade. So I actually took apart almost all of my Harry Potter sets, have the minifigures in a display case because they're cool. I grew up with it. I loved it. That's kind of why I named like the OG Harry Potter, because I still have like nostalgia for that.
Yes. Okay.
Like they were cool in a different way, because it was almost like a cool Lego theme that felt like it was more based on the books even than the movies. So I don't know. I think that is kind of one of those like, ooh, if I could have one Harry Potter set, the Hogwarts Express maybe, but it takes up so much room. So I do actually really want to get the micro scale Hogwarts.
Okay.
Because
So I bought that as well. Also
it does
in the
everything
box.
you need. Did you wait? Oh, it's still in the box?
Yeah, like I can't even tell you all these sets that I bought.
Take
that
it
are
off your hands.
Still sitting in my box, like not even being touched, and like I almost feel ashamed that like I have all this stuff just sitting around there. So
for real,
that's something I need to work on, is trying to limit myself on buying stuff unless I'm going to actually build it.
You really have to. So like a couple years ago, I set this New Year's resolution. It was like after my first year of TikTok, and I was like, I'm not going to buy any new sets until I build everything that's in my backlog. And because I was like, I really got to do this, because otherwise, like, I'm just going to keep getting new stuff and it's going to go pile on the backlog. So long story short, I didn't follow that resolution even a little bit. And there's still stuff. There's still stuff in the backlog from that day that hasn't been built. There's stuff in there from 2020 that I haven't opened yet. I
still have the Batmobile not built, the Tumbler, the Batwing. I mean,
the Batwing's awesome. That's one of the sets. The Batwing and the Batmobile, the 1989 Batmobile. I really wish I'd gotten those sets.
I bought the Eiffel Tower. That's still sitting in the box. I feel like after seeing like Nicole build it, I was like, maybe I don't want to build this now.
We do have a question. I'm acknowledging that I am thinking about that, Brian, because there definitely is an answer. Oh, I know. The Imperial probe droid from Star Wars, the buildable, the whatever it is, the $59.99. No, I think it might have been. I don't know how much it was now. But yeah, you know what I'm talking about? The probe droid.
I don't, unfortunately, because
you don't know
the number one Star Wars fan doesn't know all the sets that come out.
Yeah, I got it because I was like, oh, it's cool. I love Empire Strikes Back. It's like one of my favorite movies. But that set was such a nightmare to build. That one, and then also the R2-D2. That, not the new one that came out, but
the original UCS one.
Not the original. It was the previous one. It's not technically UCS. They did one in like 2021, an R2-D2.
Okay, so it was the second one. Aubrey, I only claim to be the number one Star Wars fan.
But he is the number one Star Wars fan.
As long as you say it, it's true. It
Whatever
must be
you say,
true.
yeah.
Yeah, it's on the internet.
It's on the internet. It must be true.
Exactly. All right, what's your Aubrey wants to know, what's your go-to snack to eat while building?
I don't eat while building. I can't.
I'm gonna agree with that. I can't eat.
I can't because I'll get junk on the Lego, and that's a no-no.
What's going on, Dom? Just popping in.
What's going on, dude?
And again, for anybody that's in tonight, don't forget to enter the giveaway. I'll repost that as well into the link here. I'm going to put it into the chat on Restream so that it hits, I guess, your page as well.
Yeah, everybody who's watching from my page, if there's any of you out there, check it out. My go-to snack is water, pretty much, because I always have a full glass of water.
That's actually, you know what? I've been getting real big into drinking water again lately. So
drink it all day long.
Yeah, but I need lemonade packets in it.
Oh, so no, just straight water.
I can't drink just water plain.
And I have it actually. You'll think this is cool, Evan. I have it on a coaster that was made by my friend for Bricks and Giggles.
Love that.
She's
nice.
She does really nice creative stuff. If you want to check out for Bricks and Giggles on her Etsy, she sells stuff, and she's a content creator here on YouTube, Instagram. I'm giving her a random free plug because she's my friend, but she's also somebody who does like vintage stuff.
You will have to put a link up on your Instagram stories, and for anybody that doesn't follow his Instagram, there's his link. I'm sure you all follow him though, so again, if you don't, you'll put it up on the stories, later today, tomorrow.
I have had a good time growing on Instagram recently.
So I mean, that's I knew you from TikTok originally. And I saw you make an Instagram account, but I know you didn't focus as much on Instagram. And then all of a sudden you just blew up.
No, what's funny, correction there, which nobody really realizes this about me. I had my Instagram before any of my other Lego social accounts. Do you want to know when I made my Lego Instagram account?
When was that?
2014.
Wow.
Yep. So I actually
went with the name
Matticusbricks. It was exactly the same.
Wow.
I made a change. Like, I think I had an underscore at first. There's no longer an underscore.
Okay.
But I was just like, yeah, Matticus was a nickname that my best friend gave me when we were in high school. And I wanted to make an account to just like share my the pictures of Lego stuff that I was building. And I didn't really, I mostly wanted to share my mocks. But I was like, oh, Matticusbricks is what my name would be if I were a Lego minifigure. And then I had a sig fig at the time. And so, I met some people back then, but not really, didn't find the community yet. And it was my fiance, my girlfriend at the time, who encouraged me to do TikTok. And I kept the same name.
Wow.
But then I used that same Instagram account once I started. I was like, oh, I should probably expand in other platforms. And now I actually had reels to post. So then I totally revamped that account. And it's the same account, though, that I've had since 2014.
Well, that's why she's a keeper. She got you making the TikTok, and then look where it got you now. So
she is, and I bet she, has days where she regrets it. She's like, okay, great, now he's going off to another convention, and now I can't see him today because he's doing videos.
So how does that work out for you now? So I mean, my wife didn't know I was into Lego until after we were married.
Oh wow.
So, you're soon to be wife. I mean, I gave her the iceberg approach where she saw 10% of me and then the rest of the 90 after we got married. But I mean, your fiance, has seen every part of your journey, which I love that because she knows what she's at least going to get. So how does she feel with you, with land now? And now you have to ramp it up. What's going on with Lego? So
yeah, she's proud. I think she sometimes looks around at the basin and she sees there was one time where she saw everything that I had from LAN that I had to do at one point and the boxes, and she was like, oh, and this is just this month. She was like, where are we putting all this in our house? I'm like, well, we're gonna have a Lego room. But yeah, it's she's really supportive. I'm very lucky for that, and we work together on things, so
And is she I know she's built some Lego stuff, but how into Lego is
Not
she?
really.
Okay.
She thinks certain things are cute. Actually, what it is with her is if there's something that is appealing to her, she's behind it. She saw in a catalog the other day the Dune set, and we both love Dune. She's super into it because she loves movies, and we've been to see both of them together. So she was like, "Oh my god, they have a Dune set! I want to get it." So I was like, oh wow, that's cool. She was like, yeah, and I want to go like buy it with you, and I want to build it with you. And I was like, oh cool. So does that mean it's like we're gonna put it on your credit card? And she was like, yeah, nice try.
Listen, anytime you can get her to buy something or want to get into something, you better buy it and just remember, happy wife, happy life. So
absolutely. Well, you know what? She has bought me several Lego gifts over the years, and I'm very grateful for all that.
So now you got to return the favor. And
Yes.
if she wants to get into Lego, always support it and keep buying it for her. You know, that's, if my wife ever said like, "Oh, I want this," I'm buying it in a heartbeat. So
for her, yeah, it's gonna be the odd set. Well, you know what? I think I actually did buy her the succulents.
Okay.
And then she has them in her office, so she does that. But yeah, it's just, you know, when we're into something together, we'll do it together. But for the most part, it's my thing. And she likes to go. She went to Virginia with me. Well, you met her, right? You met her at Virginia?
Oh yeah.
Yes. So she did Virginia. We're gonna do that again. Hopefully she'll do Chicago at some point. I don't think she can do it this year, but eventually I'm gonna get her to go to Chicago.
All right, so I'm gonna do a quick giveaway right now, just because we're kind of running, you know, a little different on the timing here, which I love that. But
yeah,
get the responses in here. So we got 14 people that signed
entirely
up.
On like me, I can't shut up.
Listen, hey, I'm loving this. So let me just get all the people involved in this, and let's get a wheel spin going here. And actually, I got to do it, on here. Let's share it in here.
I need her to be a Teletubby at some point. Aubrey, you bring the costume. She will definitely be a Teletubby with you.
All right, so I'm just doing the spin. The first winner is going to be getting the gift with purchase. I believe this was the winter market stall. Wow, Brian Bricks, of course. Winning everything.
Awesome.
Congratulations, man. All right, so that's the first winner. So, Brian, you don't even have to give me your information now. I got it. So, I will get this over to you. Congrats. Has the best luck on here, but I love seeing people that are constantly on the channel that actually get to win stuff. So
that is so cool.
All right, so I'm going to pull in the next part of this segment here. And let me get the my videos that I love to do here. So and I probably should have had this, but this is time for the question grams here. So let me pull them up, the questions that we had here. And I'm only going to do a few so that we can kind of keep the time down a little bit.
For sure.
But, PNG Bricks wants to know, what's your favorite build you've ever created? This could be a mock or a set.
If I had it with me, I would show it, but it's at Dom's house. My favorite mock build that I've ever done is my newest one, A Visit to Shroom Swine Cottage, which you can see on my Flickr, and also on my Instagram if you scroll a bit. But it's the newest build that I did for Enchanted Forest, and I'm really proud of it because I used some unusual techniques, and I think, it's just my proudest build.
Okay, I like it. All right, now we got SS John wants to know the least favorite brick set you've ever built.
Oh, okay. So probably like the least favorite set. Yeah, the like I mentioned before, the Imperial probe droid is one of them for sure. Didn't like that one a lot. And then also like the First Order ATST is a pretty lame set. I've kind of, throwing a lot of Star Wars in there. Yeah, those are the two that really stand out as the ones I have least.
Okay. All right, so I have to ask this because it's from one of my favorite accounts out there. And I'm sure you know them, 2Gay Afuls.
I love 2Gay Afuls.
Wanted to know, how has your land journey been so far?
Oh, my land journey. Thank you for asking. My land journey has been a whirlwind. I felt like it was a dream when I got accepted. I was like, I'm going to wake up and they're going to tell me it's not true. But it is true. I've just been kind of learning as I go. I've had opportunities sent my way and that I never really expected I would have. new things that I'm still learning to do. I mean, for the first year, I'm considered a new community, so just kind of working my way up and seeing where it can take me. It's been wonderful, and also getting to interact with the other ambassadors too, like the 2Gay folks who also got accepted in the same time as me, and then my friend
your
Nicole.
same draft class.
Yeah, for real. It's been a really good group that were accepted, and Nicole, Girl Bricks a lot, Danny Bob, and then of course people like from before, like Matt Mellis, Gene's Version, Emma Soros has been a really great mentor to me. So just kind of getting to interact with all of these other creators has been so great.
Love it. We'll go to the next one we got. Is Mimi Dondo Lego wants to know, if you were to design one, I guess, what would be your perfect Lego set if you were to design a Lego set?
All right. If I were to design a Lego set, I'd want there to be something like that felt like the vintage castle, so kind of like the 90th anniversary castle, but like with more of like a fairy tale and like a fantasy element to it. So yeah, something like that, like in maybe like a really big elven type of city or something like that, like along the lines of Rivendell. I don't know. It feels like Rivendell is kind of like my perfect set. Maybe something from Lord of the Rings. I don't know. Like we could do like Edoras, like the Golden Hall. For the Rohirrim, would be cool. Or Lothlorien, maybe large scale Fabuland figure. Yeah, maybe it would be like this, but like a Fabuland fig. Those are all ideas.
That could be fun. All right, and we'll leave it with this last question, just so we can get to the next part of what we do on this build and chat. So I'm kind of curious on this question, because I'm not sure if this was asked at me or if this is just a general question for you, but Simon Ayers wants to know, what's the most common question you are asked?
Oh, okay. I think we could probably both answer this question, because we both have probably been asked questions pretty regularly. I almost always get asked, like, what is your favorite Lego set, or like, what is the biggest Lego set you've built? Something along like a variation like that. I don't know. Would you agree?
I think my question that I get a lot is, how do I afford the Lego sets?
Mm-hmm.
That's probably my biggest question, I think, that most people ask me. So I married a sugar mama. That's how,
One that I get now that's kind of like becoming one that I get asked a lot is when I post like a teaser or something that's for like a LAN set that isn't out yet. I get, how did you get this set early?
Right.
Or even if people do understand what it is to be an ambassador, or a little bit, they know I got the set early because of LAN, they ask, well, how do I become an ambassador?
I would assume that's probably the most frequent question now that you've been getting recently, is like, how do I become a Lego ambassador? And
right.
I mean, you want to give everybody that's even watching the quick way.
Yeah.
So that they'll know.
Yeah, so it's the thing is with being an ambassador, it's like I want to give you like the realistic approach, but also the follow your dreams approach, because on the one hand, yeah, anybody could become a Lego ambassador, and that means like anybody, you don't have to be special in terms of like who or anything, your work background, whatever it is. But you do have to have established a community. You do have to be someone who's out there posting a lot and has a following. It's not about how many followers you have, more about the quality of your following, but you do have to prove that you have people that are looking at your stuff and engaging with you. So there is a little bit of like credentials in that way.
So I've noticed with that, because there's a lot of creators that I've seen out there, and some have a following. Yep. Some don't have a big following, but again, like you're saying, they have that community sense. So
it's quality, right? It's not like there isn't like a magic number. Some people have been accepted into the program when having like 2,000 followers on Instagram, and that's about it. Others have had to have a lot of followers across, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. But the other big thing is that you also want to have something that makes you unique and something that you can offer to the program.
Yes, you can't be doing the same stuff that other people that are already in it are doing.
Right.
So think about that, if you ever apply people.
Right. And to a certain extent, like, we're all getting kind of the same sets sometimes. So there's going to be similarities between the content, but you have to bring your own like unique twists, your own unique perspective. That's what they want to see, is like new, fresh ideas. But I think another big thing, probably the most important thing to know about the Ambassador Network is, or to think about, is if you're getting into it or you want to get into it for the right reasons. And yes, we do get a lot of free Lego. We get a lot of early Lego. But you got to want to do it because you care about the brand and you care about sharing that with people and you care about making creative content. It's not just about getting a handout.
And Aubrey makes a good point. Not everybody has to post on Instagram or YouTube. You can also be a blogger. So again,
there's a lot of ways that you can be in.
Various ways that you could definitely be in that. So
I would even say, and this is just me, like, coming up with ideas here, I feel like there's probably other types of ambassadors that we could have that we haven't even discovered yet. Like people are coming up with new creative ways to reach audiences every day. So maybe think of a way that you reach people. I don't know, could be worth putting in an application. You have nothing to lose to apply. Usually you get feedback. If you don't get in, they'll give you an idea of what you can improve on.
Give you the pointers of what to work on. So, okay, nice. All right, so now we're going to pull into the portion where we'll call this... This is the What's on Your List segment.
It was a fun little intro.
Listen, I'm trying to get these intros going.
It had like the sound of like kind of like an 80s like a new wave song to it, kind of.
It had to be non-copyrighted music and something that like spoke to me back in the day. So I felt like that was like that like old school like you're saying there. So
it had kind of like The Cure a little bit kind of feel to it. I was like, all right, I'm digging it.
All right, so for the first thing I'm going to pull up here, we're going to talk about the hopefully I got this right. The monorail.
That's the one.
Okay.
Monorail.
Okay. Now, I remember this set as a kid. This was released in '87. This was like just when I was getting into Lego. And
go
ahead.
Give me a history lesson on this a little bit, Grandpa.
I possibly, but I didn't get this set because it just didn't speak to me back then.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't into like the monorail systems, and that's one of my biggest regret because I could have gotten them.
Yep.
And I just didn't because it just wasn't a theme that like I was into back then.
See, that's an interesting point.
I mean, you were either into space or pirates or castle, like
pirates. People didn't do a lot of crossover, huh?
I mean, people did, but like you couldn't get all the big sets of everything. So it's like I went with the big sets of pirates and castle. So I kind of went with smaller space sets.
Budgets were different back then, I assume, right? And you kind of, Lego, I think it's seen as a luxury, but it's also like, I guess, I don't know. Do people see the value of it maybe more than they did back then? Or
I mean, I think it was more of a child's toy back then, and this was $130 back then. So this was on a high end.
In 1989 money, that was like probably like $6,000.
I mean, that was big. Well, it was big money for parents back then to like think like, hey, I'm not going to get this. So
So the question that I was going to actually ask for you was like, did anybody actually own this set? Like, was this one that like every kid thought was cool but couldn't afford?
My cousins had this set. This was one that like one person's house had it in your group.
So this was kind of like, okay, was it more or less than, or about the same as like the G.I. Joe, the helicarrier, not helicarrier, the G.I. Joe
that
you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, that more people had, I would say. This was like just one person in your friend group had it.
Oh, so more people would have been able to have the G.I. Joe thing? The G.I. Joe thing?
Because everybody would then collaborate and like each wanted their own, G.I. Joe system or whatever vehicle, whatever you would get back then.
And you would all bring him to the aircraft carrier.
House, you would play exactly. This you just played with it at one person's house that just had it because we all had different Lego.
Yep.
And it was like back then, I feel like we used to collab a little bit where like I would get this set and you would get that set so we could kind of play together.
Oh, that's neat.
With the two sets. I mean, it was a different, era back then where like the castle sets I had, my friends didn't have. They had other castle sets. And it was kind of like doing the, factions going against each other back then.
Oh, that's really neat. That's pretty cool because I had like similar experiences that I had a really good friend growing up who was a Lego guy also, and we would sometimes bring things to each other's houses, but we would also trade a little bit. He got some different sort of like hand-me-downs from, I think, like a family friend or a neighbor, but he got like Ice Planet 2002. There were some old Blacktrons, and Dark Forest Fortress was in there. So it was like that 90s stuff. So I actually got to play with a lot of that stuff at his house because he had been given it by a friend. So that was another reason why I got into all that stuff.
Now, realistically, I'm seeing the price on this right now could be, it's valued, I guess, at $2,500. I'm seeing the lowest price on eBay is about $24.79.
Are you serious?
The lowest price on Bricklink right now is $3,000. So, is this one that you think might just never be obtainable?
Maybe now. Let me just say, I had a chance to buy that for a heck of a lot less than that. But I think those are sealed prices.
Okay,
I'm fairly
you're probably right on
sealed.
that. Yeah, you're probably right on that. But
yeah.
I find it hard for this set to still be sealed.
They're out there.
Okay.
Yeah, no, they are.
Like back in the day, people didn't buy these sets and think oh, let me not open these. So
no, but on the other hand, I have to wonder if it was so expensive that it didn't sell super well, so that some of them ended up in warehouses and went to, I don't know how they spread around.
Yeah, that could be true too.
But no, yeah, I had the opportunity to buy it at Brickcr8or, Virginia, my first Brickcr8or, Virginia, for I think $400. Complete in box.
Wow.
In great condition. And I didn't because
at
the time I was I kind of exhausted my budget. Spent a lot to be here.
At these conventions. So
yep. And I was I know if I go home, my girlfriend is gonna kill me for buying this ridiculous thing, and parents are gonna be why'd you buy that? I'm so I didn't do it. But looking back, it's I don't know. Would I still have that money now? Probably not.
And now the value of it would have went up too, so that could have been
it did
something you look at.
I could probably still find it for a reasonable price at some point, but
if anybody has it and they're looking to get rid of it, we got a guy.
My price is $400.
So, yeah. All right, and then also you had this one on your list. So this is probably my biggest regret of not buying.
Yeah. This is the big kick in myself moment.
Yes.
Yep.
And I think even just the Harley Quinn fig, my daughter loves Harley Quinn, and this would have been the one that I would have loved her to have, for some reason. So I don't know why I didn't buy this at the time. I mean, it was only $300. It was a good value.
It was, and I feel at the time, I know me, I budgeted differently, and I was I had to get the modulars, I had to get this, that, or the other thing, but I just feel I should have done it differently. That should have been a priority, getting that set.
I think this was more of a, where would I put this one? I wasn't thinking of displaying sets as much back then, even though it was not too long ago. I mean, it was 2019 that this was. So, and this had a very short life. Well, I think that's why it made the value of this a lot bigger.
I was going to say, this had a very big, I thought I had more time moment with this. Where I always was planning to get it. I thought I had more time, and I'm pretty sure it only lasted a year, if that.
February to November.
Yeah.
Not even a year.
Ridiculous that it didn't last that long. Ridiculous.
So, I mean, this one, I think, I guess going by sealed prices, $800 on eBay and about $668 on Bricklink. So
that's not terrible, though, because that's...
No. I mean, I know the Harley Quinn fig goes for a couple hundred, so...
Right. And that's about the price it was when I looked. Oh, one of my lights just died. That's the price it was when I was looking at it a couple years ago. So it hasn't gone up too much.
Well, we'll say that one's not too bad. So
potentially
affordable.
Those
are the white whale sets for you. And then what I like to ask people is the coming soon sets, or ones that are out, that they like. We're not going to do coming soon for you because you probably know a little bit more that's going to be out there. But
I can't tell you what sets I want that might be coming soon. I know, I don't really know anything about what's coming soon. I don't know.
I'm sure you have no clue what's coming out in the horizon. So, but this was one that you had up there, and you mentioned it tonight. I I guess this is the one that your soon-to-be wife would kind of want. So
Yes. So I got it. Like you said, happy wife, happy life.
I would just buy it, like, and just maybe make it a nice date night, you know.
It's not a bad idea.
And what would you do with this after? Like, is this a display set? Like, is this like once it's built?
Yeah.
Like,
That's what's held me back on buying it, because I know it's like humongous once it's built.
yeah.
And I'm looking around my room, and I have no place to put it. And I struggle with like vehicles, because it's like that's kind of why I'm getting into Star Wars, because it's always vehicles, and I don't have room. They're really awkward to display. It's not like a structure or a building that you can just put on a shelf. It's like you got to have the wingspan takes up so much.
It looks like a dragonfly to me, to be honest. So.
Yeah, that's what it's modeled after.
Yeah. Well, I never saw Dune, so I don't know if this is something that I want to get into.
Dune's great. You should.
Or see any of these. So, all right, and then we have a couple other ones that you kind of wanted on here. So I'm just gonna pull them on, because I think you have some great selections on here.
Because once again, Evan asked me to answer like some simple questions, and I gave him like a
listen. I gave you the option to give me a couple, and you didn't hold back on that.
I didn't hold back.
All right, so this was another one that you had on there, the El Dorado Fortress.
Yeah, this one's probably top of my list as far as sets I want to get, just because the vintage theme. It's gonna go great with my Barracuda Bay.
Now I have this still sealed in the box.
Oh God!
Like,
come on, you're killing me.
I bought it when it first came out, and I just never got myself to build it. And
that's one of those sets that I would buy, and I would race home from the store to rip open the box and build it.
And then as I see a photo like this, I'm thinking of Rob the Builder, like photoshopping now his head on these.
That's like my favorite thing that's been happening, is Rob doing those. Like, he's just crazy. I love Rob.
All right, and then last on the list for you on the coming or currently out, we'll say.
Yep.
Is the Red Fox.
Red Fox.
I didn't expect this to be as large scale as it was when I saw it.
Yep.
And would you build all three, or is it the Red Fox really that's speaking to you?
The fox. Well, what is it? It's a squirrel,
it's the
right?
owl and the squirrel.
Oh, I might build the squirrel. He's cute. He's cute.
I mean, it reminds me of Ice Age. Like, you could kind of make bigger teeth with it.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's got his nuts. So, I mean, how great is that?
I love it. Yeah, he's, I like that it's these woodland creatures. The colors in this set are great. Which is why it's one where it's like, I try not to buy too many smaller sets these days, or ones that like I feel like are not gonna like last. Because I'm just like, there's so much to keep on your shelves. But that's one where like I wouldn't be guilty, because I take the set apart. I could use those pieces in my mocks very easily.
Now, would you say that Creator 3-in-1 is so far top theme that's came out this year, or
it's up there? And it's funny because it's never really been on my radar before. I never buy Creator sets, and I still haven't, but I do want to get this one, and I'd like to get the ukulele.
Okay,
they're just very cool.
I like the selections there. So I mean, you have some great choices with that, and I'm sure on the future sets that we'll see, we'll know how that was for you as well. So
absolutely.
All right. Well, we're coming to the point where I like to do the close. We're getting a little bit longer than I like to go. I like to do this for about an hour.
Yeah.
So tell me any last thoughts that you have. First off, before you even get to your last thoughts, if you're not following him, here's his TikTok. We got his Instagram. And you're probably watching on YouTube already, so you don't have to worry about that. But that's all of his socials. Great content creator, inspires the younger generation, like my son. So
your son
specifically, but I know that there's a lot more, that you're inspiring out there. So
thank you. I hope so. That's what I want to do.
Keep doing, the great things that you're doing for the Lego community. And I'll give you the final little, say here on the live stream tonight.
Oh, I'm on the spot. The Lego community is everything to me. The way that I've been able to find this big group of inspired builders all over the world, all over the country, and been able to connect with everyone has just been so fulfilling. And I hope that I get to keep doing this for a long time, because I love it. So I just want to say
you get to as well.
Yeah, thank you, Evan. Aubrey's Aubrey is saying that she's basically geriatric at this point.
I love
No,
it.
no. You're only as old as you feel, I suppose.
I agree.
Keep building, build your dreams. I don't know. That's my final thoughts. Evan,
love
thank
it.
you for having me. It's always awesome talking to you.
And everybody, this is every Thursday. Again, check out the YouTube. We'll do this next week. We actually have the Stud City. And then the following week, we have Mock Torah. Aubrey, I'm going to put you on the spot to send me a picture. I know that I told you have, till next week, but try to get on that when you get a chance. And again, thank you everybody for watching, and we will see you next week.
All right. Good night.